Hey, welcome to B Reads Reddit. Today we have 3 stories from r/AmITheA. The first is about a woman who loves her dog more than her boyfriend's kid. The second is about a woman who doesn't want her disabled daughter-in-law to live with her family. And the third is about a man who adopted the kid his friend's sister originally planned to adopt. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more juicy Reddit content. Am I the asshole for loving my dog more than my boyfriend's kid? My boyfriend is 28 and I'm 26, and we've been together for a little over 2 years. He has a 5-year-old son from a previous relationship. Him and the kid's mum share custody equally, meaning the boy is 1 week at my boyfriend's and 1 week at his mum's and so on. I have a dog that I got before I met my boyfriend. I love my dog very much. She has my heart. My boyfriend and I do not live together. Each of us have our own places. I get along with the kid fine, but I would not say that I love this child. I do not miss him when he's at his mum's, and I stay more at my place when he visits his dad, mainly because I want them to spend time together, and also because I do not enjoy the kid stuff they do so much. This was never a problem until a few months ago. I make good money, but I'm not wealthy. I'm just living on my own with my dog and no kids, which means I have more money to spend than my boyfriend, who has an extra bedroom for his kid and needs to pay half of everything for the kid. Makes sense to me. A few months ago, my dog needed surgery, which I paid for. It cost a few $1,000s, and since then I sensed a change in my boyfriend. He was surprised how easily I was able to afford that surgery, and how I did not hesitate to pay this amount of money to save my dog. I was taken aback by that, because I love this dog very much and I would pay anything for her, and my boyfriend not accepting that hurts. I asked him if he would pay this much money for his son, and he said, of course, and asked if I think my dog is as important as his son. I said, to me she is my family. Since then, he brings up money way more often than before. Whenever the kid needs something, my boyfriend will make jokes about me paying for it. Whenever I spend money on my dog, he asks what I got for his kid. He never gets stuff for my dog, by the way. Last night, my boyfriend mentioned how he would love to take a vacation after all this is over. I loved this idea, and we kind of started planning a little bit. He then says he wants his son to come with us. Then he explains how we should go somewhere kids love, and how we should share the costs of this trip. All of this sounded to me like he wanted a good opportunity and a fun time for his kid, and me to pay for it. I then said I do not want to pay for something I don't enjoy. I would be happy for him and the boy if they did this trip together, just the 2 of them, and maybe if he had some money left, the 2 of us could go on a vacation after that. I would pay for myself, but if he has no money, it's fine. He lost it. He asked me if I love my dog more than his son, and I was honest and said, yes, I chose this dog, she is my family. The fight went on the whole night, and he is currently not talking to me. So, am I the asshole for loving the dog I chose to have more than my boyfriend's kid? Redditor Monkey's Fanny says you're not the asshole, but why are you in a relationship with a guy who has a son, who is not leaving his life, who you don't care for? Your money is your money, but he has a package family. I think you need to choose before it gets even more serious. Next up we have, am I the asshole for not wanting my disabled sister-in-law to come live with us? My husband and I have been together for about 10 years. We have 3 young kids and a fairly hectic life, as you can imagine. My husband has a sister who has cerebral palsy. She is 38 years old, but cognitively has the development of about a 5-year-old. She can't really speak clearly, but she can make some sounds for common words to say what she needs. My husband can understand her better than I can, but I'm trying to get better. She's not permanently wheelchair bound, but she can't go upstairs or walk long distances, so she does have some medical equipment to help. She needs help doing everything for her basic care, from bathing to dressing to feeding. He obviously grew up with her, so he's very used to everything she needs. When we go to visit my in-laws, it always seems like their entire livelihood revolves around her. She also throws big tantrums when she doesn't get what she wants. There ends up being a lot of yelling from all sides. I find the whole environment so stressful and tense, but it's what they're used to. My husband's parents are getting older, and I think it's getting more difficult to care for her. My husband approached me a few weeks ago saying he thinks it's time his sister comes to live with us. My whole world came to a screeching halt. We had talked about us helping financially and coordinating care before, but never about her actually coming to live with us. In truth, I just can't picture us staying afloat while adding her into the mix at our house. We have 3 kids under 6. It's a madhouse here all the time already. If she lived here, we'd need to have all 3 kids in one bedroom. We'd also need to get some serious modifications to our house, because it's not handicap friendly. Also, I truly think this would ruin the relationships we are building with our kids. I think my husband and I would have to spend so much time and energy caring for his sister that we wouldn't be able to focus on our own kids. This breaks my heart and is the big deal breaker for me. I suggested moving his family closer to us. They currently live 5 hours away, and seeing how we can help without them living with us. I said we need to start looking into some appropriate assisted living facilities, and he flipped out on me. He says he promised his mum he'd take care of his sister, she's his blood, etc. I understand it's his sister, but I also feel he has his own new family to consider too, that he's completely ignoring in this equation. Obviously, this is a big up on both of our parts to not discuss this in detail much earlier on. I can't picture us managing this with 3 kids, and it just makes me sad to think of us 30 plus years down the road when we're empty nesters and always having his sister there by our side. To be honest, if I knew his sister coming to live with us forever was a total mandatory for him, it might have meant the end of our relationship. Redditor AmITheA says she's his blood, but you're his spouse. Once he married you, he committed to you as his future. Not that he was to abandon his family, but your feelings are now paramount in his new life. He absolutely must give fair assessment to your thoughts on anything that affects the household and your family to this degree. You are not the asshole. He wants this, but I want to know, seriously, how much he will be the primary caregiver and how much he expects you to do. Even if he does plan to take care of her exclusively, she still becomes a huge disruption in your lives and household. Will you still be able to go on vacation together? Will someone always need to be in the house with her? Will her loud nature make you all unhappy? Will this turn into a bitter household? Stand fucking firm on this. Tell him, as you have, that you are willing to compromise so that your family becomes part of her caregiving by living nearby, by contributing financially to an outside care facility. But do not let yourself contribute to the unhappy collapse of your own home and marriage by taking in someone you do not want to take in. Again, you are not an a-hole. And last up we have, am I the a-hole for adopting a kid my friend's sister had planned to adopt? It's been a couple years, but a post on here reminded me of it, and we lost several friends over this, but still feel we were in the right. My wife and I had adopted my niece Katie when she was 3, and when she was 6 we were looking to adopt another child. My wife's friend introduced us to her sister, Jill, who was also trying to adopt. About 2 months into being friends with Jill, she found a boy she wanted to adopt, Henry, who was 7 at the time. Jill took Henry out for the day. My wife and I were taking Katie to the park, so we arranged to meet them there. Henry and Katie instantly got on. Henry was a great kid, but very hyper, presumably because he was excited to meet Jill. Jill commented to me that she hadn't been able to calm Henry down all morning, and asked if we could watch him for a second while she took a breather. We agreed and spent the time talking to Henry, who seemed to fit in well with our existing family dynamic. Eventually, it was time for us all to leave, so we went our separate ways. Several weeks later, Jill called me to say the adoption had been rejected by the agency. Apparently Henry himself had refused it, so the agency had to decline. A few months after that, Jill found a different child she wanted to adopt and started the process, while we were invited to an open day at a local home, where several prospective parents/families meet the kids. When we were there, we saw Henry. We were using the same agency as Jill, and it was coincidence or luck depending on how you look at it. Henry remembered us, we still got on great with him, and we ended up adopting him. From what Henry said, he rejected Jill as she didn't have a lot of patience and wasn't willing to work with him, while we were a bit more flexible. We didn't tell Jill, because at this stage we'd only ever met her twice. Once for coffee and then the park. And while we'd had some contact with her over text/phone calls, we didn't know how she'd take this. We also didn't tell our friend, but after adopting Henry, we posted an updated family photo on social media, which a different friend shared, and that was how the first friend saw it. She told Jill that we'd adopted him, and Jill replied to our post that she'd considered us friends and we'd adopted her son out from under her. We clarified the timeline immediately, but our friends were shocked at us, and we received several messages saying they couldn't believe we'd done that, and saying Henry should essentially be seen as off limits to us because he rejected Jill. Some even calling us greedy because we already had my niece while Jill had no kids. We felt that was absurd and ended up blocking most of them. But to this day, whenever we see any of them, they're still appalled that we adopted Henry. And even the people who supported us joke about us stealing other people's kids. Are we the assholes? Redditor SDG says you're not the assholes. The child did not want to live with her. She needed a breather the first day they met. You had no intentions of adopting him when that was Jill's plan. But how incredibly selfish of all the friends and Jill to not see the value in this child being adopted. They are literally saying that you should have left him in foster care because he denied Jill. That is appalling in itself. Thanks for watching. Check out some of our other videos on screen now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more juicy Reddit content.